Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Lessons in Savvy Living. I'm your host, Sia Knight. And Lessons in Savvy Living is a place, it's a space for women. We have real women who tell real stories and give real lessons about their lives. So today I have a very, very special guest. Um, and before I'm not going to introduce her, the only thing I will say is, Sariah, what are three things that people should know about you?
Oh, hello. Thank you for
Hi.
having me, first
No
of
problem.
all. I'm so excited to be here. So a little bit about me. I am a mom of five.
Wait a
Um,
minute. Hold on. Stop right there.
I know.
Five,
I know.
five children?
Well, yes. Well, I mean, if you're talking about the husband and the dog, then I'm a mom of seven.
Oh
But
my
yes,
Lord.
five
Okay.
children.
Okay. Go ahead. Woo. Go ahead.
so, so they are ages 10, 8, 6, 4, and 1.
Mm.
And I have been homeschooling for, I like to say 10 years, but really, let's be honest, it's probably been about 5 since he got old enough. And then I have been working from home for the last 8 years. I love helping people. I have a passion for just seeking out the underserved. I think that there's a huge need out there. And so that's a huge passion of mine. I'm always looking for ways to help. And so, hearing about your podcast, I just love what you're doing because these kind of subjects that are tough to talk about, they need to be talked about. So I love that you are giving us a voice when it's needed the most. And then lastly, I started my business just a few months ago when I saw that there was a need for stay-at-home moms and women to have a way to earn income while staying home with their kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a huge passion of mine, is just to give these moms empowerment to make a change in their own lives. So I just love everything about what I do. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much. And you just mentioned that during the podcast, we cover a variety of different topics, some of them lighthearted, some of them a little bit heavier. And in fact, our
Mm-hmm.
subject today can be considered very, very heavy. It's something that a lot of women go through, but not a lot of women talk about. So
Mm-hmm.
today's topic is miscarriage.
Yep.
And Sariah Fouladi, tell me your story around that subject.
Yes. So I actually uh, I had my first miscarriage during my first pregnancy. So I had just gotten married. It was exciting. We found out we were pregnant just a few months after getting married, and the first 20 weeks went by well. I was excited. We were making plans. We had bought half the stuff. I was starting to show, just so much excitement and looking forward to the future and what that looked for us, and coming up with names. I'm not going to tell you the names my husband picked because they were awful. It's fine. I vetoed all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fun. It was fun to dream and to get excited about what was to come. And I went to the doctor at 20 weeks. We were going to do a gender reveal, and it was then that they told me that we had lost the baby. Um, and I think that that's hard enough. Just a shock, because you just don't expect it, and you don't, you're waiting to hear about the gender, right? And
Yes,
dream about all the things, blue or pink, which one's going to be. And
right.
so it was a shock. So we kind of composed ourselves, and then the doctor came in and he was like, okay, we're going to escort you out through the back because we don't want to upset the other moms.
Mm.
And I was just like, oh, okay. I'm trying to process what is going on here. My entire world has just shattered around me, and now I'm being escorted out the back
Mm.
because we don't want to upset the other moms. Um, So they walked me out to the back, which was quite literally a like back hall. You had to walk twice as far to even get to your car. So we rode home in silence, and it took a while to hit me. I was in shock. I was pissed off, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the hell is going on right now, right? I am 21, 22 years old. I'm healthy. This shouldn't be happening to me. And then came the anger of like, why did this happen? And is this my fault? And so the next few days were probably the hardest that I've ever experienced. They call you, set up your DNC, they have you come in. Yeah, the next few months, it took me a while. I dropped out of school. I was going to college, and I stopped that semester, and I just kind of reclused, and I uh, ignored everyone. No one understood. They didn't understand why I was so upset. They didn't understand why I was depressed. They didn't understand why I was so angry. Like, just the anger alone, you
Wait, I'm
know.
I'm actually surprised to hear this. No one understood why you were so upset when you lost a baby at 20 weeks. Oh
Mm,
my gosh,
no.
that's
And
surprising to hear.
and I think it was also, looking back, I was 22. All of my friends were in college
Got it.
having fun,
Got
right? And so really they didn't even understand it. And even years later, it was a couple years ago. So this was 10 years later. Someone messaged me, and they had a miscarriage, and they said, "We are so sorry
it.
for not being there for you." Because until you're there, until you're in the thick of it and you see your dreams stripped away, and you are laying there bare and just nothing, right? You've lost everything that you've been dreaming about. You really don't understand. And so
Right.
it's a very raw place to be in. um so yeah, I think that's really where it came from. And I think people don't know how to talk about it, so
Yeah,
they
I believe that
shy
absolutely.
away. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, um, you know, I suffered another miscarriage later on, and that one I was also pretty quiet about, because at that point I had 3 kids,
Okay.
and and I told a couple people, and they're like, "Oh, but you have your 3 kids," as if it minimized the pain that I was going through. And
Right.
I heard it twice, and I didn't tell anyone else. I was like, nope, I do not need to hear that, because it's still my baby. It still
Right.
hurts. It's still a loss. It's still, the what ifs and the unknown that you lose when you lose, a pregnancy. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster, but through it I have learned so much about women and everything we go through, and how strong we are. We
Oh
are
yeah.
extremely resilient, and we are strong. And that's to mean for something. So
Wow.
yeah.
That is such a powerful story, Sariah. One thing that a lot of people probably don't know about me, even my family and my friends, is I have 2 children.
Mhm.
Before I had my first son, I had a miscarriage as well. So I understand and I know that the hope and the dream of the child and getting excited,
Mhm.
and in my situation I had just started to tell people. I just told like a few people, a few key people, and then of course the devastation. And I wasn't 21. I was a little bit older, but still it felt so isolating. No one
Mhm.
else was talking and saying, "Hey, I went through this." But
Mhm.
statistics show that probably a lot of people I know had gone through it, but it's just something that we do not talk about. So I
It's
really
very
appreciate you.
taboo.
Yeah.
It's Yeah, and that's why, any platform I have to talk about it, I will talk about it on Facebook. I will talk about it wherever. And it's funny now, and it's not even funny, but now I have friends who come to me and say, "Hey, I just lost." And they reach out to me because they know I'm a safe space, and they know that they can, talk about it,
Mhm.
and that I will understand that grief and that pain that so many people do not understand. So yeah, it's very needed. I would love for us to not put so much shame on it, and not put so much, cover it up,
Yes.
and bring it to light and say, hey, this happens. 1 of 4 women will suffer a miscarriage. And so let's talk about it and let's support each other and, carry each other when we're down.
Absolutely. And I guess, how did you first, I guess, kind of come out of the closet about it and start talking to people about it, or start talking to women about it?
Yeah, I did not have a choice. I was showing. I was 20 weeks along.
That's true.
Um, even 3 or 4 months later, people would see me and be like, "Oh, where's your baby?"
Ooh.
Because to them, they had seen me pregnant, and so then I had to say, "Oh, we lost him," and go through that whole. And so I did not have a choice. It was all over social media. By 12 weeks, you're telling everyone,
Oh, that's
and
true.
so at 20 weeks you're already buying all this stuff. You're already doing those little polls on social media. Okay, what's the gender? So I was thrown and it's a blessing because I am able and willing to talk about it. So I just took that platform and ran with it.
Wow, that is so, you talked about women being strong. That is the definition of being strong. Even though it shouldn't be, since it's so common, but it's,
Mm-hmm.
even though you were showing and then people were asking, it still could have been at a certain point, you could have said, yeah, we don't talk about this.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
not
done. Yeah.
saying, yeah, I'm not saying a word about it. So
Mm-hmm.
I really
Mm-hmm.
appreciate your openness and your
Yeah.
willingness to share kind of your experience, because I know that there are a lot of women who will learn from this, and a lot of women, especially, I guess we share the whole thing. Our first pregnancies were miscarriages. Then the
Mm-hmm.
nervousness that I had subsequent
Oh,
pregnancies, like, oh my
yes.
gosh, what's going to happen? And you know, I did something wrong the first time. I have to make sure I don't do
Mm-hmm.
anything wrong this time, and let's make sure that everything's perfect. I ate like
The
a fool.
anxiety. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I
I know.
gained a lot of weight. Um,
Uh,
but
it
yeah,
is.
that,
It is. And I asked a mom's group that I'm in, and that's something one mom said is talk about what it's like to have a baby after miscarriage, because it's that fear, it's the anxiety and the stress that comes with it that, oh my gosh, I would not eat certain foods. Lunch meat is bad and ice cream is bad and all of this stuff. And so then, and then even that, my family was like, oh, calm down. It's fine. You're fine. But to me, I wasn't. I couldn't risk it again. And we found out later that mine was progesterone. I needed progesterone shots, and as long as I take them, so but just I was just so scared. So yeah, that is a very real truth to having subsequent pregnancies.
absolutely. And something else I related to was you're talking about being pissed off, because that's
Mm,
something I know that I'd look at people and I'm like, all these people around here having babies, all of these people not wanting children and having them,
uh-huh.
all of these
Mm-hmm.
celebrities. I think, I'm not going to call out the particular celebrity, but I just remember there was a celebrity that was pregnant right after that time. I'm like, I know she's not having a baby with her old self, and I can't even have a kid. So there are a lot of emotions that really came up for me, that
Mm-hmm.
I really, now that I think about it, I really didn't talk to anyone about it. My then
Mm-hmm.
husband at the time, he, of course, we were both sad about it, but I didn't know how to express that to him. He didn't know how to express it to me. So that it was a very, very sad and isolating time. Yes.
It is. And not having anyone to talk to, right? Because then you're going through all these emotions and you're going, what's happening? And I jotted down some things to tell yourself. So for the women out there who may not have had a miscarriage yet, or who just did, or whatever, but it's not your fault, right? Don't blame yourself.
Right.
I remember sitting there like, what did I do? Stop it. Stop with the what did I do? You didn't
Mhm.
do anything. Life happens. Life throws us these curveballs, and we just got to, you know, figure it out. But it's not our fault. There's nothing to be ashamed about. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Why are we embarrassed to say, hey, I lost a pregnancy? Right? So
Right.
just saying that it's okay to say, it wasn't my fault and things happen and this really sucks and I'm pissed, but I'm not going to be embarrassed about it. And then to be okay to grieve, to be okay to hell, I sat for weeks upset and depressed. I dropped out of school, and that is okay because I needed that. I lost something that I had so many dreams for. I say it's like you lose a baby, but then you lose all the first two. I lost the first word. I lost the first step. I'm going to cry. It sucks. Right? You lose everything. And I even wrote down while I was preparing for this, my boy is 13 now, right? He's 13. He would be 13.
Yeah.
And taking that in and experience, like being okay with, okay, we lost and it's okay to grieve. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to tell everyone to leave you alone. It's okay to tell people that you need help. It's okay, however you need to grieve, to do so and to know that that's your right. So
Wow. Yeah. I concur, and I'm glad that you were able to talk to the women in your women's group,
mm-hmm.
because they feel comfortable with you, obviously, and they have a place to kind of vent some of those feelings and
Yes.
emotions that we should all over ourselves, don't we? I shouldn't feel this way. I should do this. I should
Mm-hmm.
do that. So I know that you said there were some things they wanted us to know in this audience, in the audience of the
Yeah.
podcast. Is there anything else that they mentioned to you that we should mention to the rest of the audience?
There's a lot. It's funny because when you ask that to women who have miscarriages, they're like, "Hey, hold my drink. Let me,
Hmm.
let me get ready." And I love that they opened up to me because I think there are a lot of things that even women and men who haven't gone through this, for them to take from this. So they said, don't feel ashamed. One of 4 women suffer losses, and it's more likely that your close friend did, right? And so being able to talk about it so that you guys can all encourage each other. And a lot of it was to people on the outside looking in. So and same with me, if you were to talk to me, I always talk about those and how they acknowledged my loss and how they handled it. So
Right.
um I had anywhere from a lot of coddling, a lot of oh, I'm so sorry, and like almost suffocating me, to the well, whatever, I don't have that issue, so I don't have to care about you.
Right.
So just give your loved ones a time to grieve. If you know someone who has lost, give them that time to be angry, to be, again, pissed off,
Hmm.
because it is very shocking. And then and I say it may have been a 5-week pregnancy to you, but to her, it was all those possibilities. It was all those firsts that she's losing. So, she's losing her entire dream that was in her head the moment she saw that plus sign on the stick. And so we need to give them that space to grieve, and then give them that outlet to talk, to say, hey, I am here for you. A lot of people said what not to say, and I
Oh.
love this because, girl, let's
Hmm.
just, right.
I'm sure I've heard
We
some of
need
them as well, but go ahead. I want to hear what they had to
right.
say.
so so they said, say I'm sorry, period. It's a really hard thing to address loss, any kind of loss, right? From if you lose a parent to if you lose a baby. And so stop saying, well, it's God's plan. Or, well, there might have been something wrong with the baby, so it's good that the baby passed because, right? Stop it.
Right.
Stop giving reasons. You do not have to give a reason for this. Life just sucks sometimes and things happen. But so just stop. And then the at least. And my friend said, if your sentence starts with at least, you need
Hmm.
to shut up, right? Because
Right.
at least it was your first. At least you can have more. At least you already have a baby. Just
Right.
stop. The moment you say at, you should just stop and be like, I'm sorry, and leave it at that. Let's
Right.
just not even go any further. And then, how can I help you? Or
Right.
what can I do for you? And giving them that. Some women like to, you know, go in private and
Hmm.
mourn, and they don't want to be bothered, and they don't want people to talk about it, and they
Right.
just want to be private. And then some women really, really do need those people to come alongside them. So ask.
Yeah.
Why are we afraid to ask? Like, hey, this is very new to me. I've never had a friend have a miscarriage. What helps? What can I say right now? What can I
Right.
do right now? Ask. Open those lines of communication, because I guarantee you at least half of the women who have lost, they just want to be asked. They just want that moment to share, and to have someone agree with. So that, yes, they had a lot to say about the
Oh,
people.
thank you. I appreciate that. So, I mean, you've been so open and so generous with your experience and also doing some crowdsourcing and finding out what would you say is
Yeah.
the biggest lesson that you've learned from
Mm.
your experience or experiences?
Yeah, sometimes life doesn't make sense, and we don't need to make sense of it, period. Like sitting there trying to figure out why and how and why me, it doesn't make sense, and coming to that realization and being okay with it. But also, I wrote this down because it's so big to me. But love, assume innocence, be kind, and love people. And this is the biggest thing I've come with my miscarriage and with my son who was in NICU for 3 months. Those two situations drained me. I remember driving slow on the highway because I legit could not go the speed limit, people. I was braking. My
Mm,
heart was crushed. And it was just everything I could do to get from point A to point B. And then people honking at me or cutting me off. You know what? I'm doing the best I can.
right,
Or in the grocery store, I didn't say thank you. God forbid I did not say thank you to this one stranger. But you know what? I had just had a DNC the week before, and I just saw a baby, and now I'm having to remember everything that I've lost. And I didn't say thank you to you, and you called me out on it. Are you kidding me?
right,
So the entire thing I've learned from all of this is to love others. When you're in the store and you think someone's being an idiot, they might just be going through hell. When you're
right.
on the highway and someone's going slow or someone's cutting you off or someone's being, stop, assume innocence, and let's be kind, and let's just love each other, because that's the only thing we can do at the end of the day. And that's my biggest takeaway from all of this, is just I now have this ability to just look at someone and ask, why are they having a bad day, and digging deeper instead of judging and getting all, hypercritical. So love, be kind, be giving.
Wow, that's powerful. I mean, that really is. You're gonna make my eyes start to water a little bit, Sariah. I'm gonna hold back. So, Sariah, I
Oh,
mean, you, I mean, I want to be your friend. Like I wish that I had a
oh,
friend like you then, now, and you seem like a person that's very easy to talk to. And I'm sure when people listen to this episode, they're gonna say, "Oh, that's Sariah Fouladi." Did I say that correct last name?
yeah, yeah,
Fouladi. Okay, that's
yep.
Sariah. She was very smart, and she's it's like a virtual hug. So if somebody
Oh.
is looking for you, Sariah, online, what would they be looking for you for, and how can they find you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I really love people reaching out. So even if you stalk me on Facebook and find Sariah Fouladi and send me a message, I try to respond as much as possible. My business is Panda Source, and so that's a really easy way to get into me, because I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Just look for the panda, and
Say
send me a
that. Say
message.
that.
But yeah,
Say that
you're,
again,
yeah,
Sariah. What was the name again of
it's
the?
Panda Source.
Okay, Panda Source. Okay, there was a little sound thing, and I wanted to make sure we get that loud and clear. Panda Source. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, yes. So definitely Panda Source. Stalk me on Facebook. I love making friends and I love supporting others. And, if you're a stay at home mom and you're looking for a job or you're wanting to become a VA, I would love to talk more about that too, because again, I think it's all about empowerment. Whether you've had a miscarriage or whether you have 5 kids and you're homeschooling, it's all about us doing this together, right? And doing life together and supporting each other.
Okay. Well, that sounds wonderful. Sariah Fouladi, thank you so much for being a guest on Lessons in Savvy Living. And that's it for this episode, everyone. Until next time, stay savvy. Bye.